Well, I've been doing a lot of reflection lately. I sit here in my office in Omaha, the same humble space I've occupied for decades, and the same question keeps coming up, usually from sharp young people. They lean in and ask, Mr. Buffett, what is the secret? How do I stop being broke and start building wealth? I always manage a slight chuckle because, truthfully, there is no secret at all. The entire formula is less a hidden trick and more a series of exceedingly simple principles that the vast majority of people choose to ignore. They ignore them not because they are difficult, mind you, but because they are dreadfully boring. People crave excitement. They want the instant thrill, the winning lottery ticket. But let me tell you something vital. I am 94 years old now, and I have witnessed entire eras, great bull runs and devastating bear markets. I've seen colossal fortunes emerge and equally colossal fortunes vanish. The enduring pattern is this. The individuals who construct genuine, lasting wealth are simply those who commit to performing the same unexciting, methodical tasks, decade after boring decade. Do you know what I mean? When I was just a boy, I delivered newspapers 500 routes, actually, and I hoarded every single nickel I earned. People often called me cheap, and perhaps I was, but even then, I grasped a crucial concept. Money possesses an almost magical quality. If you save it, if you resist the temptation to fritter it away on fleeting desires, it holds the power to multiply itself. That, simply put, is compounding. Einstein allegedly dubbed it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, the principle stands true. Allow me to illustrate the power of time. Imagine you are 25 years old and you take a mere $10. You place that $10 somewhere secure where it can grow at, say, 10% annually. You don't fret over it. You don't check the balance daily. You just leave it alone. By the time you reach my age of 94, that initial $10 will have grown to over $13,000. Now, that alone won't make you rich, but that was just $10 once. Imagine the mathematics if you commit to setting aside $100 every month, or even $1,000. The figures become exhilarating very quickly. However, and this is the key differentiator, most people will refuse to do it. They will take that initial $10 and use it for an unnecessary purchase, a gourmet coffee, a trendy new gadget, whatever fleeting item is currently fashionable. A little pleasure is fine, of course. But if that momentary indulgence is your consistent habit, if you never manage to put anything away, you are guaranteed to remain exactly where you are today. This core discipline I learned from my father. He was a stockbroker during the Great Depression and watched firsthand as people lost everything because they never understood this fundamental rule. He once told me, Warren, never spend what you don't have. Don't borrow unless it is an absolute necessity. And always, always pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. That is a phrase I have carried and applied for 70 years. The meaning is straightforward. Before you settle the rent, before you buy groceries, before you pay any bill, you carve out a defined portion of your earnings and you set it aside. You invest it. You save it. You make that capital begin working for you. Most people execute this process backward. They prioritize paying everyone else, the landlord, the credit card company, the bank, and then, whatever meager amount is left over, they might consider saving. Usually, there is nothing left. They save nothing, and then they wonder why they never get ahead. If you consistently place yourself at the very bottom of your own financial priority list, how can you genuinely expect to build any lasting wealth? I still reside in the same house I purchased back in 1958. It cost $31,500. People often find this baffling. They say, Warren, you are among the wealthiest individuals on the planet. Why not buy a genuine mansion? Live like a billionaire. And I tell them, I times am times living like a billionaire times my times billionaire. I have no use for a massive house, 10 expensive cars, or a yacht. Those things do not generate happiness for me. What truly makes me happy is freedom, financial freedom, the liberty to choose what I do, when I do it, and who I do it with. You cannot possess that freedom if you are shackled by debt, if you are spending every dollar you earn, or worse, spending money you haven't yet earned. If you do this, you become a prisoner, working tirelessly for your stuff times, instead of having your stuff work for you, and then is creating 70 wantas. Let me share a story about my dear friend, Charlie Munger. Charlie passed away not long ago, and I miss his wisdom every single day. He was truly brilliant, one of the sharpest minds I have ever encountered. And do you know what Charlie often stressed? He would say, "Warren, the real money is not found in the buying and the selling. It's found in the waiting. The waiting. That is the message nobody wants to hear, because waiting is inherently dull. It isn't glamorous. You can't brag about it at a dinner party." Hey, guess what I accomplished this week? Nothing. I simply allowed my investments to sit there. People laugh at that approach. But while they are laughing and trying to day trade and chasing the current hot stock, I am quietly getting richer in my sleep precisely because I am deliberately doing nothing. I am just waiting, allowing the engine of compound interest to run its course. Most investors, most people generally, have zero patience. They demand immediate results. They see a stock dip 5% and they panic sell. They see a different stock skyrocketing and they rush in, typically moments before it collapses. They are like a farmer who plants a crop of corn in the morning and then digs it up in the afternoon just to check if it's growing. You cannot build genuine wealth that way. I recall 2008 and 2009, the height of the financial crisis. The world felt like it was dissolving. People were paralyzed by fear. The stock market had effectively been cut in half, and everyone was aggressively selling. They were certain it was the end of the world as we knew it. And what did I do? I bought. I published an op-ed in the New York Times declaring, "Buy American. I am." Many believed I had gone mad. But I understood a principle they missed. Fear is the ultimate enemy of wealth creation. When the masses are scared out of their wits, that is precisely when the greatest opportunities surface. That is when everything goes on sale. The stock market, fundamentally, is just a giant store. Sometimes prices are exorbitant, sometimes they are dirt cheap. Most people perform the exact opposite of what they should. When prices are high, they become excited and buy heavily. When prices are low, they become terrified and sell everything. This is fundamentally backward. You must buy when things are inexpensive and sell when they are dear. Or, even better, my preferred method, you buy and you simply never sell. You locate truly exceptional companies, businesses that consistently generate cash flow year after year, and you endeavor to hold on to them indefinitely. People frequently ask me, "Warren, when is the optimal time to sell?" And my usual answer is never. If you have correctly identified a truly golden business, why would you part with it? Would you sell a goose that reliably lays golden eggs just because someone offered you a good price today? No. You keep that goose for life. Of course, I'm not suggesting you should never sell. Mistakes happen. Business fundamentals change. Or sometimes you genuinely need the capital for something critical. But as a fundamental rule, if you are perpetually buying and selling, you are not investing, you are speculating. And speculation is not how you build a financial fortress, it is how you dismantle it. That's as of Indhadits 27. A visualization 7. Let me transition to something I consider even more consequential than stock selection, investing in yourself. The single greatest investment I have ever made was not Coca-Cola or Apple. The best investment was in my own education, my own abilities. When I was young, I was absolutely petrified of public speaking. I would visibly tremble and sweat. I couldn't form a coherent sentence. So I enrolled in a Dale Carnegie course. It cost me $100, which was a significant sum back then. You know what? That $100 investment may be worth $10 million to me today, perhaps far more. Because learning how to articulate my thoughts clearly and persuasively, that skill has proven invaluable. It opened doors, cemented relationships, and made everything else possible. You cannot place a financial price on knowledge or skills. They cannot be taxed. They cannot be stolen. They can never be stripped away from you. And critically, they compound, just like money does, possibly at an even faster rate. Every book you absorb, every skill you master, every wise individual you speak with, it all accumulates. It builds upon itself. Over time, you inevitably become more valuable to yourself, to your community, and to the marketplace. I still dedicate 5 or 6 hours daily to reading. People inquire about my secret, and I always answer, read. Read everything you can get your hands on. Read annual reports, biographies, history, and articles about businesses and ideas. Fill your mind with useful knowledge. Because here is the undeniable truth. The world consistently rewards value. If you can provide substantial value, if you can solve challenging problems, if you can improve people's lives or create something useful, you will never remain poor. You may start poor, yes, but you will not stay poor. I grew up during the Depression, and while we had little materially, I never felt poor because I possessed something more precious than money: curiosity, intense drive, and a burning desire to comprehend how things worked, how businesses generated profit, and how the world operated. That innate curiosity is worth more than gold. Once you grasp how money functions and how wealth is constructed, it is an insight you can never unsee. These stages are faved and dies. Now, let me discuss a surprisingly critical factor in wealth accumulation: the people you spend your time with. You invariably become the average of the 5 individuals closest to you. I didn't coin that phrase, but it is deeply accurate. If you spend your hours with people who are constantly broke, who harbor destructive habits, and who dismiss the value of saving or hard work, you will likely drift toward the same destiny. Conversely, if you surround yourself with ambitious, intelligent people who are actively building things, you will naturally elevate yourself to their level. It is a fundamental aspect of human nature. Charlie Munger served as one of those key people for me. Every single conversation with Charlie made me sharper. He would challenge my assumptions, illuminate my blind spots, and force me to think with greater rigor. Over 5 decades of partnership, I became a better investor, a better thinker, and a better person because of his influence. You may not need 5 brilliant friends, but you must be judicious about who you permit into your inner circle, because those individuals, consciously or not, are shaping your decisions, your beliefs, and your habits. And habits, that is another subject that deserves attention. Frankly, your daily habits matter more than almost anything else, more than your job title, more than your formal education, and more than your starting point in life. Show me a person's daily habits, and I will accurately forecast where they will be in 10 years. It's that simple. When I was young, I developed the habit of saving. Every dollar I earned, whether from delivering papers or mowing lawns, I saved a portion of it. That habit became completely automatic. I didn't need willpower. It was just what I did. The same applied to reading. I instituted a daily reading habit. Come rain or shine, busy or not, I read. 70-something years later, I still follow that routine. It is no longer difficult. It is not a chore. It is simply who I am. That is the profound power of habits. Once they are fully established, they operate on autopilot. You no longer require motivation. You just execute because it is what you do. The tricky part is that detrimental habits work exactly the same way. If you form the habit of spending every single dollar you make, that too becomes automatic. If you habitually eat junk food or scroll endlessly on your phone, those actions also compound, but in the entirely wrong direction. You must be intentional. You must select your habits with great care, because your habits are constructing your future, one slow, invisible day at a time. Over years and decades, your habits literally become your destiny. We have make under that was wrestling with that this grading. I often reflect on the origins of Berkshire Hathaway. Many people overlook that Berkshire was a failing textile mill when I acquired it. It was, in truth, a terrible business. I have admitted many times that buying it was a mistake, but I learned an invaluable lesson from that error. I learned the essential difference between a good business and a bad business. I realized that some companies, regardless of how hard you labor, will never be great. They are trapped in